You're listening to Parasearch Radio, news, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. Parasearch UK Radio. Parasearch Radio, broadcasting to the UK and beyond.
The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
Good evening and welcome to the Paranormal Pop-Up Show. I am Kerry Greenaway and I'm joined in the studio this evening with my co-host Paul Rook. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening. You mean you dragged me into the studio tonight?
I did not drag you into the studio. You were well up for it. That's all I can say. Hardly is all I can say. Good evening, all you para people out there. We are live and kicking, so please feel free to join us in the chat room. And we thought we'd do a little pop-up show because we haven't done a pop-up show for a little while now. So, Paul, why are we not out investigating is the question.
Do you know what? It's too hot. I can't be bothered.
Can't be bothered. I love that.
No, I've got other things to do. I can't be out investigating every weekend as much as I would love to.
Well, I think we should be. I think it's a prime evening to be out investigating outside locations.
Okay, so let's go to Hadley Castle.
Well, let's do it. Let's do the show and then off we go.
Oh, okay, cool. I'll meet you there.
Okay. Let's do it.
Go for it.
Why not?
You first. Yeah, see you there.
I'll be up there all on my own. I can feel this vibe happening.
No,
I'll be waiting.
Like that.
Yeah, I'll be waiting and you'll be leaving me hanging. I just feel this vibe tonight. It's bad enough I dragged you on for a pop-up show.
Yeah, that no one's listening to.
No, there's going to be loads of people listening. Now, there's loads of investigations going on tonight. It's the paranormal season, isn't it, out there? And so many great locations coming up. So what have you heard on the grapevine? Where are people out and about?
Do you know what? There's loads of places. The one place that I'm quite looking forward to coming up the end of September, October, is the Paranormal Para Convention by Paraforce.
Yeah, that is looking like an amazing... Well, there's a couple, isn't there, of paranormal conventions coming up?
Yeah, I know there's a Sage Paracon as well, but I'm not sure of the details of that one.
Well, that's at Warwick Castle.
Okay, cool.
Isn't it?
I don't know. I've not seen that one. I've not seen the advert for that yet.
Really?
No.
Well, Sage Paracon is on the 22nd, 23rd and 24th of September. Now, they have an absolutely astonishingly good lineup. They have Jean Zaffis. I've gone all French. Why have I gone French?
I really don't know. He's American.
John Zaffis. They've got Jeff Bellinger. They've got Brian J. Cano, who I adore. They've got some amazing people. Robert Murch, who's the Ouija board guy. Russell Edwards, Jack the Ripper guy. They've got some amazing people coming up at Sage.
Paraforce, they've got a good lineup. Also, they've got Barry Fitzgerald. He's one of these guys that do is it Ghost Adventures International? No, Ghost. I can't remember, something like that. We've got Malcolm Robinson.
Yeah.
Michael D's going to be there. The guy that does Morbid that I interviewed a few weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
They've also got a Skype link with David Farrant.
Gotta love a bit of David Farrant. I adore David. He's absolutely astonishing, man.
He is. I'd talk to him for hours, and I've got a show coming up as well soon with David Farrant joining me.
Yeah, you have.
Oh yeah, I've got 2 guests that night. David Farrant's one of them, and it's too late to remember what the other one is.
Isn't that Ashley Mortimer?
Yes, that's it. I'm glad you reminded me. Yeah.
Just as well someone's on the ball here.
It is, because I'm tired and it's late and it's 1 o'clock in the morning.
You're a paranormal investigator.
I'm a tired paranormal investigator.
Oh, my goodness. There's no excuse, is all I'm saying on that one. Now, these conventions, what part do you think they play in the paranormal field?
I'm quite looking forward to the fact that there's going to be other paranormal investigation teams at these places, and I can do a bit of networking and meeting some of the people that are behind the names that I deal with on Facebook all the time. Because there's a lot of people in the 10 years I've been on doing this that I've not actually met face to face. I mean, Sean Cadman, for example, you know, he works with Vivian Powell at Paraforce.
Yeah.
So I've never actually met him. I've met Viv a few times, but I've never actually met Sean. So I'm quite looking forward to that.
It is shaping up. Yeah, I have to say, both conventions that are coming up are shaping up to be phenomenal. You know, not phenomenon, but phenomenal.
Yeah, phenomena.
They're both shaping up to be amazing events. And we're hearing of more and more fantastic events coming up around on the paranormal field all the time, aren't we?
We are. And you know what? I do take notice of some of those, and we try to book them for my event company. But sometimes it's at the moment, I think people are feeling the pinch a bit, and you know, there's not many people going out on investigations as much as there used to be. I mean, there are 1 or 2 events that I've struggled to sell and sell out and stuff this year. So I don't think there's too many people going out and about. But I've still got some really good locations coming up. My favourite one that I'm really looking forward to is York Dungeon.
That sounds awesome. Has that been investigated before?
It has by 1 or 2 paranormal teams, but not on a grand scale.
So do you think that some locations are over-investigated?
Yeah, I do. You know, there are a few places. I mean, you could go to some of the bigger companies and they've booked the same place every weekend for the whole year. I mean, even Newsham Park Hospital, that's sort of overdone, I think. Woodchester Mansion's another one that comes up a lot. Oxford Castle, Colchester Castle, places like that, you know, that are done quite a lot. And maybe they're just diminishing the energy that's in there.
Or is it because the spirits are, I'm using spirit in a generalisation term, the spirits that are there are getting a bit tired of different ways of working? I mean, there are the same old bits of tech, don't get me wrong, but, you know, the energy in between groups is quite scattered. So,
yeah.
You know, if you have one team going in all the time...
I can understand that to a point. I mean, if you was a ghost sitting there and every Saturday a team comes in, it'd be a case of like, oh, not again. Do I really have to do this? Do you know what I mean? So maybe it's a case of that.
Well, yeah. I mean, or if you get one team going in all the time, the same team going in all the time to a location, do you feel that it builds the energy better because the spirits or the energy is used to it? Or is that a Phillips experiment kind of energy that gets built because you have the same team?
I don't... I mean, if it's a small team, then yeah, it could be a case of that the energies are used to the people going in, so they're not as active, maybe. But if it's a public investigation, I think that the people that go in with you have an effect on the atmosphere and the energy. Because if you get these ones that are quite closed down and they're not really partaking in the event at all, they're very closed off, you don't tend to get much activity going on, because obviously they're just shutting it down in spiritual terms. Mm-hmm. But if you get a good group of people in there that are with you and they're full of energy, they're all having a laugh, they're all quite relaxed, and things start happening. So I do think it's something to do with the people that you take with you.
No, I definitely agree. I think if you've got a good team, a good cohesive, well-balanced team, then it's really important to at least start off with, at least. Now, one thing I've been talking about quite recently is how you use spiritual against scientific in the field. That it's been quite an interesting avenue I've been talking about with various people recently. And you've got mediums that stand up on platform and work in a platform way, and you've got people that go out in the field and work in the field way. And I've come across platform mediums that have trouble crossing over into the paranormal field and vice versa. You know, what's your take on that?
Again, I've experienced this as well. There was a guy that I know that does platform mediumship, and he's really good at it. So I thought, do you know what, I'll try him out as a host for one of my events at Fort Halstead, I think it was. And he was okay, but he was very leading with what he was getting, with names and stuff. And yeah, I just wasn't too keen on the way he worked within that. I mean, he was okay, but he wasn't ideal for the public investigations, so we never used him again. But the second time I tried bringing him in a platform medium, she wanted to do the investigation in a platform way, if that makes sense. When we was all sitting down in the kitchen area, which was the hub room, she was doing like readings, and she was telling people what she picked up in various rooms without actually going into the rooms and doing an investigation type thing. So again, that sort of put me off using platform mediums.
Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Yeah, there is a definite crossover, isn't there, between platform and working in the field. Now, I found that people, or a particular medium that I worked with in the field, was great at picking up on energy or spirits connected to the individual people on the investigation, but had trouble linking into the actual location itself because it's a different way of working that energy.
Yeah. See, I know that you're not a medium, but the way you work on a location, I found that quite interesting, because when we went to the Ramsgate Maritime Museum, you was running around like a headless chicken. That was hilarious. And, but
there was method to my madness. I wasn't just running around like a headless chicken. I'm just pointing that out there. It might have looked like that.
Everyone that's listening needs to come out on investigation with us just to see you run around like a headless chicken.
I was not running around like a headless chicken. I had method to my madness.
You was. It was like in and out. You was in and out more times than the yo-yo, I tell you. Like up and yeah.
No, only because I'd picked up on a specific energy in a specific spot. But for the way I work, I like to feel the energy and find the hot spots and, you know, set up my crystal gridding and, you know, do the thing that I do when I'm on investigations. But on this particular occasion, I wasn't really gridding. I was picking up on this energy. And
He was running around in circles
I
instead.
couldn't pinpoint it. That was the problem. It felt wrong within the building. So I then had to go outside the building to try and pinpoint this energy spot, is how I describe it, to try and link in better, because if I stand in the energy spot. So I had to go outside the building to go further along the quay to see if it was further, and then decided it wasn't along the quay. So then came back in, and then I was like, well, can we go further in the building? Because there was a door which led to like a storeroom. So I needed to go into the storeroom, and it was like trying to pin it down, and that's what I was trying to do. So to anybody watching me work, it probably did look like I was running around like a headless chicken, but I wasn't. I wasn't doing that. I was specifically trying to pinpoint it, and you have to admit I did.
Yeah, you did, and you've done really well with what you picked up on, absolutely. And for everyone that's listening, on the 29th of July, we're going back to the Ramsgate Maritime Museum, and if Kerry's going also, that'd be like one to get on.
I think it was to watch me run around like a headless chicken.
Yep, ChinaParanormal.com. Get in there, get a plug in.
I'm going to start charging you for advertising, Paul.
Oh, okay. I'll put it on all my adverts. So,
no, it's just a different way of working, and that's the difference, I think, between platform, because I can't stand up in front of a group of people and tune in the same way that I do in a location. I find that incredibly difficult, tuning into a specific person. So it's very, very
really
difficult. Well, I do well every time I'm out on an investigation, Paul.
well, yeah.
Not
Can't deny
good.
that.
Sorry, there's my ego kicking in now.
Yeah, but no, it was a good location. And not only did we do the museum, we also done the boat as well, the Servia.
Yeah, but to be fair, when we walked around the boat, I didn't pick up a huge amount. I would like to have spent more time in the museum.
Yeah. Well, you can on the 29th of July.
Wow, I'm going to definitely have to check my diary for that one, because
Yep,
it is a place I would like to go back to because of what I was picking up in the museum. And so I didn't pick up so much on the boat.
But then it might just been a dud night. Do you know what I mean? And you might pick up more next time.
Well, that's true, but other people did pick up stuff on the boat, didn't they?
They did, yeah.
But
we just need to do more investigation on the boat.
I think so. I mean, it was very strange because the boat itself is incredibly well kept. It's in really good condition. But energy-wise, I wasn't picking anything up. But I say other people
Maybe
were.
it just needs one of your grids.
Maybe it does. Maybe I should.
Yeah.
I don't know. But because I couldn't feel hotspot, because I couldn't feel a specific energy, I found it very difficult, personally, to then go, okay, that's what we're going to do. That's what I'll do. Help raise the energy. Work in this way. It was I don't know. That night felt very flat on the boat. I'm not going to lie. Having said that, I say other people were picking stuff up, so I can't, just because I didn't doesn't mean to say there wasn't anything there. It just means that I didn't pick anything up.
Well, that's it. I mean, most people pick up things on different levels, different vibrations.
Exactly.
So just because you didn't get anything on your vibe
doesn't mean that it wasn't there.
Yeah.
No, you're dead right there. I completely agree with that.
Or either that, or they were just scared of you.
No one's scared of me.
Yeah.
I love that. I don't even know where to go with that thought pattern. Are people scared of me? I don't think so.
I don't know. I think your kids are.
Well, yeah, that's different. That's my children.
I've heard you talking to them. It's like, get up in our room.
Get to sleep. It's 11 o'clock at night. Yeah, that's a bit different though, isn't it? That's just being a mum.
With the whip that it's sort of...
I don't whip my children. I'm just going to put that. You get as bad as Mark Manley. Honestly, the opinion people have of me must be awful. I don't whip my children.
No. Yeah. Anyway,
Back to subject.
Going back to the investigation that the chat that we had with Brian Holloway last Tuesday.
Yeah.
On the Paranormal Concept Show, we done a experiment, didn't we?
We did.
The ghost box. Do you want to tell the people or the person listening what you heard?
Right, okay. So after the show...
something up.
Right,
yep.
So I'll just shout out to Lindsay. Thank you so much for tuning in, Lindsay. If there's anybody else listening to us, please come into the chat room. It would be great to hear from you. On Tuesday's show, we did a live experiment with the Ghost Box app, the very, very first app they released. I didn't realise it was not an up-to-date app, but hey, it was the one that came up. And after the show, I always... particularly if we do something like that, I like to have a listen back because you never know what you might hear. So anyway, I listened back and I heard something. I'm not going to put it out there because I'm trying to get the segment cut so we can play it out again.
Okay.
And up the audio because when I listened back, I had to really boost the audio on it so I could hear it clearly. And I heard the same thing, the same sentence. It was a sentence. Said twice after I asked a question. Didn't hear it at the time of the experiment, but I heard it quite distinctly twice afterwards. Now, as I say, I am getting the segment cut because I don't want to put something in people's minds to what I heard, because obviously if I tell you what I heard, then I then send you the clip.
We're going to hear it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put it out to people and go, well, what do you hear? But I heard the same sentence twice. Now, straight after the experiment, my television turned on, didn't it, if you remember rightly?
Yeah.
Never done it since. Hasn't done it before.
Yeah.
Little weird, not going to lie. At that moment in time, it was a very strange thing to happen.
And have you saved your house since?
My house is fine. My house is one of the most protected houses in the bloody universe, I would say. Oh, sorry. I would say. I know what I'm doing in regards to protection of my house. So I do get transient spirits popping in and out, obviously, because of the work I do. But they very rarely do they come and stay. My house is not haunted, she says.
No, she says as a demon walks across the living room.
Yeah, don't say the D word. Let's not go with the D word. You know, my Skype always crashes when we start talking about Ds.
Yes, absolutely.
So we're not going to go there on that one. I once did a show previously on Ds, and every time after that show, me and Paul would be talking about it, and my Skype would crash. So we decided we're never going to mention it again.
That's funny.
It wasn't funny. It was very frustrating. Very frustrating indeed.
Do you know what? The other night, nothing to do with the paranormal, I actually went to see Transformers, the new movie, and I actually experienced the new 4DX screen at Basildon.
Oh, yeah.
And, oh, my God. Absolutely amazing. You so need to do it. Yeah. I just thought I'd throw that in.
So, if you was watching a horror movie in 4DX...
It would scare the crap out of you. It really would. Believe me.
I think that may be
got to be done.
That's what I was just about to say. I think maybe we should do that.
Yeah.
As a parasearch event.
It would literally scare the pants off you. Yep.
Would I have to take my cushion to hide behind?
Yeah, you'd need that. You might need to change trousers.
Oh, really? Is it that intense?
Do you know what the 4DX is?
Not really. Not really.
Right. The 4DX, right, is where on the screen, in the film The Transformers, there was a big battle scene. And as the horses were riding across the ground, you heard the thudding, but the seats were moving.
Really?
Yeah, the seats move. You get fog coming at you. You get to feel the wind when they're falling through the air. They just blow wind in your hair, at you. They even squirt water as well. So when it's raining on the screen, you get drops of rain on your head. So it's literally all four senses.
Wow.
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely amazing. And yeah, I'm definitely going to go and do that again.
I think I definitely feel I'm sensing my spidey senses as a kind of thinking horror movie, parasearch event.
Even when the Transformers and that were firing bullets at each other, you had the blasts of air come past your ears. That's how it is literally all your four senses.
Wow.
Yeah. And so if you go to see a horror film, it's gonna scare the
bejesus out of you.
Yeah, just to say the least.
Oh my goodness. It sounds awesome. An awesome
it does.
Cinematic experience.
It is the most amazing experience I've ever had at the cinema, and it was in 3D as well, so even better.
So you had 3D, fog, seats moving.
Fog, it was it was just when they were on the Transformer ship thing, and it was all misty, and they blew a light wind towards you, and then they had the mist as well, and it was all blowing towards you, and it felt like you was actually in the ship as well. Yeah,
wow.
Really good. Really impressed with that.
Wow, my goodness.
I mean, I wouldn't see every film in 4DX, but some of the big epic movies, Star Wars has so got to be done in it.
It sounds fantastic. I'm not going to lie.
Well, that's it. You've got to experience it. And I think Spider-Man are doing the 4DX as well.
Are they?
Yeah, Spider-Man, and there is another one, but I can't remember. Oh, The Mummy as well.
I bet The Mummy would be good.
Yeah. I've seen The Mummy.
What did you think of it? The new updated Tom Cruise-y kind of
It was
Mummy?
okay. It was okay. I enjoyed the other ones better. I mean, it was okay for what it was, but it wasn't that
Brendan
amazing.
Fraser.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that good.
Okay.
But I mean, it was okay. It's just not my type of film, really. It didn't.
See, I love a bit of The Mummy. I'm not going to lie.
I enjoyed the original ones better. Put it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Our film buff that we
That's
have
it.
on our Parasearch team is our very own Paul Rook. He does love a movie, don't you, baby?
I do, absolutely.
Right. Should we go for a quick break?
I think so, yeah. So bring on Harry Price.
I'll bring on good old Harry this time of night, and we'll join you straight after.
Hello, Harry Price here. Good evening. If there's nothing myself and everybody else enjoy here on the other side more is the sit back and relax and listen to Parasearch Radio with its paranormal news, views and reviews from across the UK and beyond. Make sure to find out more about them on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web, whatever they are, to keep up to date with all their broadcasts throughout the week. And I hope you enjoy them as much as we do over here. Hello? Is anybody there?
Well, I'm here, and I'm joined by the lovely Paul Rook. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening again.
Again. Now, we've been talking all sorts of things before the break. This is a pop-up show. There is no format to this show whatsoever. We are just talking
Random.
random stuff. I've got to watch what I say because I'm,
It's 1 o'clock. It's fine.
It's 1 o'clock. I'm running free. Now, Lindsay in the chat room has said she sometimes uses her PSB7 spirit box at home, going back to what we were talking about the live experiment, but she doesn't do it very much. But she prefers to use her pendulums. Now, I love a pendulum. I'm not going to lie. I love my pendulums.
Yeah, I don't know whether or not it's me moving the pendulum or whether or not it's actually spirit energy. That's my issue.
But there are two trains of thought on it. One is that you are... Right. There is one thing that you are mentally moving the pendulum. So it's what you think is coming through on the pendulum rather than spirit affecting the pendulum. Yeah. Or you... what you do is your subconscious picks up on a lot more information and you are channeling through spirit through your subconscious, and that's what's coming through on your pendulum.
Right, okay. That makes sense. So either way, it's you affecting you moving the pendulum, isn't it?
Effectively, yes, but it's not... It's two different ways of the pendulum moving. One is you're consciously moving it without realising you're consciously moving it. And secondly, your subconscious is picking up on the environment around you, and those vibrations are moving it. So if you've got a spirit close to you, but you're not trained to pick up that spirit, that is then using you as that tool to pop through, as it were.
Okay, why is it you have to be in contact with the pendulum? You know, you've got the chain, haven't you? And you've got to hold the chain up. Could you not just build a tripod and hook it on?
You could. I've used I've used a device where you've had dowsing rods into a block of wood, basically. Dowsing rods were put into the block and then left, and we asked the spirit to manipulate those. And, yeah.
And it worked?
Yeah. They moved. They crossed over. And there was nobody touching them, nobody moving them, so, yeah.
Any draft?
No.
Okay.
It was very interesting to see it.
Yeah.
Put it that way. It was incredibly interesting to see it. In fact, to the point where I was like... Because although I work in a very spiritual way, I'm also very sceptical, sceptical of that way.
You're about as sceptical as I am.
You know, I like to... If I can find a way of debunking, I will, even though I work in a spiritual way. So, you know... I couldn't explain that. There was also looking at it from an energy perspective, I suppose you would call it. There was like this heat, you know, like when you see on the roads in the summer, you get that heat like wave going across the roads.
Yep.
It's like I can't explain it. It's like you see
that's a mirage.
Yeah, the mirage thing. There was that thing going on around it at the same time. So when I was looking at the dowsing rods, I wasn't touching them, but I could see that heat. But there was no temperature changes being gauged at the same time. It was a bit weird. And then they crossed when we was asking questions. We were actually doing a Ouija at the same time. The pendulums, the dowsing rods were set up. So
I'm so gonna have to try that.
That was really interesting. That was Alan Cooper who had that. So, yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, I'll have to give that one a go.
It was definitely different, and I'd not seen it before. So that was interesting to me. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because nobody was touching them. And it happened, and I can't explain that. But the dowsing rods worked in that instance. So,
cool.
You know, so yes, I have also had a medium who I was at an event and I was chatting to this medium, and one of my pendulums on my table literally jumped off the table towards this medium, which I'd never seen before. and they'd never used a pendulum before. And he went home with it. He bought it. He said, well, I can't not buy it now, can I? And so he bought it, bless him, and took it home. And he was very sceptical of it. And what happened was he then rigged it up so he wasn't touching it and he would get it moving. Is it a mind thing when it's like away from you and you're almost like telekinesis? Do you know what I mean? Moving it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't explain it. I honestly don't know. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to do some sort of experiment for that.
I think that's worthy of experiments.
Yeah. I'm sure we can come up with something. I have to think about it. Yeah.
But as I say, he used the wooden block and to put the dowsing rods in. And again, it was a wooden setup with the pendulum. So again, incredibly interesting as to whether or not, is it a spirit moving? Is it a, your subconscious moving it? Is it telekinesis? I don't know. I can't explain it. But it was weird.
Get the Alzheimer cards out.
You what?
I said get the Alzheimer cards out.
Well, you could.
Yeah.
You could. I'm trying to add our lovely Jay in.
I'm already here.
Jay's here. Now, Jay said he's done an experiment like this. Jay, explain what you've done. Oh, I didn't realise you'd come in.
Yes, yeah. And I just sit here patiently listening and enjoying the rum that I got tonight. I just bought a... No, sorry, I've had a little bit of a cocktail this evening.
Haven't we all, darling?
The pendulums and not touching them. I had thought about that once before, and what I had done is I made like a pyramid using copper wire, and off each of the three sides I extended them out about 6 to 8 inches, so that way it'd have a good base to it. And I suspended a pendulum from the middle of it, and we actually put it over a bowl of water.
Okay.
To see if, and I had people who were Teresa and 3 other people that were sensitive, psychic mediums, clairvoyant, clairaudient, whatever their talents were, sitting on all 4 sides of the table, and they weren't allowed to touch the table, but they all focused their energy in towards the center. And we actually started getting some movement to it when we started asking questions during an EVP session. And what made it even more interesting is later on in the experiment, I actually added a K2 meter, which I don't care for K2 meters that well, if that's all we had at the time. I laid it on the table beside the pyramid, and there was a few times that when we asked questions and the pendulum started to move, we actually had flashes of light. The lights increased on the K2 meter, reading that it had red energy also.
It would be interesting to see whether or not, if you done that sort of system, you had like the bowl of water, the pyramid, and the pendulum in a room upstairs, and the people downstairs, and they send their energy up.
Yeah, we didn't do it in separate rooms.
Yeah.
We did it where we were around the table though, and like I said, everybody sat at least 1 foot back from the table. Their hands could be no closer than 1 foot from the table, and it was being filmed.
Yeah.
What's happened to the film footage? I'll have to get a hold of the guy and see if he still has it. But yeah, it was interesting because I was just thinking, if water's got this natural energy, the copper's got natural energy, and the pendulum reads off the energy, what happens if you only transfer your thought energy towards it? And the people who were focusing their energy on the pyramid and on the pendulum were not the one to ask it questions.
Yeah.
It was somebody else different in the room. So that way, all they had to do was focus their energy from their abilities in towards the pendulum and stuff. And like I said, a few times, we actually had the pendulum start to sway at the same time we got readings off the K2 meter. So that was kind of neat to have that scientific pseudoscience meter there also to register what was going on.
Yeah.
On a spiritual level. But I do that all the time. I always combine the two.
Awesome.
That's really interesting.
It actually
Sorry, my
works
dog is
well.
wandering. You can hear my dog wandering and drinking and sorting himself out.
As he does often.
He does.
But we actually took away the bowl of water and set it underneath the table, and we also took the bowl of water completely away and used nothing but the copper wire pyramid and the pendulum and the K2 meter, and still got some results.
Wow. So what do you think causes it? Do you think it's a telekinesis, or do you think it's spirit, or what do you think?
Well, if the spirit's the energy, and we're all energy, and they're focusing their spiritual energy towards the center, wouldn't it give that energy for that spirit to harness it to possibly make more of a communication, or have the ability to possibly move something physical? Because it's no longer there. Because you always wonder when somebody's holding a pendulum, are they moving it? Are they shaking their hand just a little bit? Whatever. That's why I did this, was to take the human factor of contact completely out and put it completely on an energy level.
Using that logic, right, and they're projecting their spiritual energy. Do you think then that some of the sightings of shadow people could actually be attributed to someone using their spiritual energy and projecting their own shadow?
Oh yeah, I think it could be. And like the time that I thought I saw a shadow figure, and I ever since I saw it, I've also thought the whole time, is it what I wanted to see? Even though I was completely alone, nobody was with me, there was nobody else in the building. Was it that I had this interest to finally experience something that, like you just said, I projected that? Yeah. And therefore, my energy projected that, and I saw what I wanted to see, hoping that I would get what I wanted to see. So
because that could then explain 99% of all paranormal ghost sightings, couldn't it? Then.
Oh yeah, and talking about projecting the energy, also we did it one time, and it's actually on film. When we were filming for Paranormal Mysteries, we captured it on film in one of the episodes where we were trying to do an EVP session, and they had all kinds of K2 meters on the table, and I had Teresa and myself though on two different sides of it. And they had one camera was catching all the K2 meters and focused straight on Teresa, and Rick had his concentrated right on the K2 meters of myself. And we got to the point where we were concentrated, and every time we would push energy out for the spirits to use, now whether the spirits used that energy and made the K2 meters go off, and there was three of them on the table, and they went off together, or whether our energy set the K2 meters off, that I do not know. But it happened on several times that when we said, okay, I'll now focus and push energy outward, and the K2 meters would go off. Was it a spirit manipulating our energy, or are they actually being able to, like Reiki or masters or anything like that, are they actually able then, showing that they're able to force energy out of their body and into something else too?
I think, do you know what, we've just solved the mystery of the paranormal.
Wow, that's it. We should all give up our day jobs and just hang up our paranormal hooks. And I've said that wrong, but you know what I mean.
It's the 4 bottles of wine you've had.
Just the 4.
Is that all?
That's all.
If you're still able to count them, then you're not doing bad. It's when you lose count that you have to worry about. Why? It makes sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll have to use the empties to catch ghosts.
It's
or
just some
your
things
own
that I've tried.
Yeah, no, that does make sense actually, and it's more logical that that's what it is rather than a spirit just waiting there.
No, there are spirits. You know there are.
It's just you projecting what you want to see.
I think sometimes it is. Not always, but I think sometimes it is. Just like sometimes when, like an EVP, like we were just discussing the other night on the Paramania show, where we were discussing where somebody tells you what an EVP is, and that's what you hear. Yeah. Sometimes you don't hear anything until somebody tells you, well, this is what I heard. And you're like, oh, that's what it is. It's that power of suggestion stuff. Sometimes I think we do manifest what we want to experience. Not all the time.
We was talking to Brian Holloway the other day, and I'm sure it was him that was talking about us using telekinesis to put the sounds onto the tape. I'm sure that you said that. Mm-hmm. So again, it's the same sort of thing, isn't it? It's you putting your spirit energy out there to be recorded. So basically, essentially, there is no ghost. It's just your spirit energy that you're forcing onto the tape or into the shadows and other things like that. And telekinesis to move objects about.
Well, there was an experiment done. I mean, remember we were talking to Ashley Nibb and he was saying about an experiment that was done with Brian J. Cano, where they all concentrated on a word to come through on, I believe it was a voice recorder, if I remember the details correctly, and they all concentrated on a word to do with, oh God, wasn't it Gollum? To do with...
something like that, wasn't it?
It was something like that. And then that actually came through.
Well, maybe that's where I heard it from then. Maybe it was them that was talking about it. But it's basically their psychic energy putting that on the tape.
Yeah, and wasn't the Skulls experiment? Didn't they have that similar thing?
I really don't know, to be honest.
I think Brian Kenna was actually building off of Konstantin Radiv and the whole collective consciousness.
Mm.
I mean, when we did the world's largest ghost hunt, that was kind of the premises of it, was actually doing the collective consciousness where everybody... He orchestrated the first 2 hours of the that night, and of course everybody could do what they wanted to in each location. But for that first 2 hours, there were certain things that everybody did at the exact same time, asked the exact same question, at the exact same time around the world, because we had 14 different. Teresa's actually in here listening now, but there's 14
Teresa.
different locations around the world and stuff. Hi, Carrie. Then there was a whole bunch here in the United States, but they were actually trying to get that, and he had a word that was in an envelope that had been sealed for 3 or 4 days before that. And, wow, Teresa and I were blessed enough to be at the command center there at Scarefest in Louisville, Kentucky. And he actually came over to Teresa and Nick Lance, another wonderful, gifted young man, psychic, medium, sensitive, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what terms he uses. But he had them concentrate on Brian, focusing their energy towards him while he because he didn't want anybody else to know the word. Only he knew the word. And he wanted to focus. He kept saying that word over in his mind over and over again to see if their energy could boost their level of. But nobody captured that word the entire night. But it's based off that whole.
There is something in it, then, isn't it? It does make sense.
Oh, I think there's that working on the collective consciousness and everything is got a lot of to it. And if you look at some of the things with what Konstantin Radivanin was doing and some of the information I got back, we know another group. That works with him quite a bit, and they're working on that experiments along that lines. In fact, we were involved with it for quite a while, to where we were trying to duplicate some of his stuff with the TV and all that, and seeing the faces and stuff and the collective consciousness. It's amazing stuff. But it takes you to wonder, like you said, is it more mind over matter than paranormal?
Absolutely.
So, Paul, because you've done a lot more investigations than I have. What is your take? Because you've seen some pretty astonishing things. You saw a glass balance on its, on the rim,
on
didn't
the edge.
you?
I did. That was really weird, but I still can't say what that was. But could it have been some sort of projection? Could we have projected that? I don't know. With some sort of telekinesis. Because there was no way. We tried 45 minutes to try and balance it ourselves, and it was done within minutes, or seconds, really. But when we tried to recreate it, it took us 45 minutes to eventually do it. It was so difficult. So whoever lived in that house either had to practice it so they could do it in seconds, or it was something that we can't explain.
Yeah, but a glass balancing on its edge. Did it have liquid in it?
Yes, it did. It was about 2 or 3 inches of water in it,
and it balanced on its edge.
And it balanced on the edge.
So, on the rim.
Yep, on the bottom rim. Yeah.
But there's no way you could balance that.
No. We tried for about 45 minutes to try and do it. We couldn't.
Couldn't
I see. I would
that.
think that would. Yeah, I would think that would be something more along the lines of paranormal than actual.
But it was literally balanced in the perfect center of balance, or whatever it's called, the physical term for it. Or the pivot point.
As I say, that's sort of something, and you tried to recreate that.
Yep, and we couldn't do it.
And you couldn't do it with the same glass.
With the same glass, the same amount of water in it, everything. It was balanced on its side, on its corner, and we took pictures of it and stuff, and documented it. And then we picked the glass up, had a look at the glass to make sure it was actually, there was no stickiness to it or anything, and there wasn't. And then we tried to recreate it with the same glass, the same contents, in the same position, and we just couldn't get it to balance. It was strange, to say the least.
Out of everything,
that would be amazing. Sorry.
Sorry, no, carry on, Jay.
No, I said that would be amazing to see.
Hell yeah.
I ain't true.
It was, and yeah, it was really strange because we was all in the kitchen at the same time, and none of us noticed it until one of the women that was there just said, "Oh, look at the glass," and we all looked, and it was literally 3 or 4 inches away from my arm, and I didn't notice it. Someone suggested whether or not they could have knocked it with their handbag, but to still be balanced, I very much doubt that.
Oh yeah, how could you knock it with a handbag and have it balanced perfectly?
I know.
Like that?
You can't do that.
No,
maybe I could. I couldn't.
No, you couldn't.
But I'm still very sceptical over it. I mean, it's very interesting, to say the least, and I just can't explain in any way how that could happen. But if we were thinking along the lines of telekinesis and, us having an influence, then yeah, okay, I could understand that. That would make sense.
Mm-hmm. So out of all the experiences you've had, would you put that down as one of your most unexplainable?
Yeah, I think so. There's also one where we was on a boat. I wasn't there to begin with. We all done a ghost walk, so we was off the boat, and one of my colleagues was actually on the boat, left on her own, putting taping some wires down for when the public came in. And she heard a loud noise and someone called her name, and she decided that she wasn't going to stay below deck. She'd go up the top and wait for me to come back. So she rang me and I come back. And as we was looking for an explanation for the noises, we couldn't find anything. So I said, "Oh, we've got the CCTV running. We'll have a look." And we put the CCTV cameras on, and I see her run up the stairs. And and we saw what looked like an outline of a little boy walking across the camera, across the fireplace, and into the hallway. And it was just something like, I think it's Paranormal Activity, when you see the ghost walking through the Connect thing. Mm. It was almost like that, but just without the dots. It was really strange. I have thought maybe it could have just been the camera glitching, but it didn't happen at any other time other than at that instance. So I don't think it could have been the camera. There's really no explanation for it. I just wish I kept that footage now.
Why did you not keep the footage, is the question. I mean, come on now.
It was a new CCTV system, and we were still playing about with it, and it just got wiped accidentally. Yeah, I wasn't best pleased.
Wow.
That absolutely breaks your heart when that happens.
It does, but it happens, unfortunately, and we've just never been able to capture anything like that ever again. I would like to go back to the boat, and it is still available for hire, so I might actually book it one day.
Well, I think that's a definite.
Yeah, and spend a week on there again. It's got to be a week. And I'll have the CCTV cameras rolling all the time. I'll invite the BBC down, and they can have their cameras rolling. And
heck yeah, sounds like you need to.
Yeah, but it's definitely one to do again, and I'm going to do it.
And where was that?
It was in Malden, on a barge, Thames barge reminder. Yeah.
So, Jay, what's the most extraordinary thing you've seen or recorded on an investigation?
Like I said, I would have to say when we were at Ashmore Estates just last year, when Teresa's already laughing. And Rick just reposted the video just the other day, and we've been doing this for about 6 years at the time, so we're on our 7th year, and nothing. I mean, all the places we've been, I've never had anything physically happen to me, but I was sitting in a corner of a cinder block room, and something. I mean, my left side's a wall, behind me is a wall. Then, of course, the open room, and there's a cabinet beside me. So I'm sitting between a cabinet and three walls, and open in front of me. So, but something coming up from my right-hand side, which means it had to have walked through the wall and laid its hand on my head. And I got up and walked across the room, and I'm like, something just touched me. I'm like, yeah, I can't say what I said. But anyway.
MF and head.
Because I had never had anything physically. I mean, I've seen everybody else get touched. And I'm sort of minding my own business. And they're in the middle of the room, Teresa and Rick and Michelle and Callie. And they're all, doing energy work in the middle of the room. So I'm sitting back in the corner just doing live EPs because I never have any luck with energy work. I'm like, I'm actually going to step out of this and just kind of be an observer and do recordings. And all of a sudden, it was a simple thing, too. It was like how a parent or a grandparent walks up and just lays their hand on a child's head nice and easily, nice and comforting. But when you're sitting in a corner and there's nothing but cinder block walls around you and a cabinet beside you and somebody's laying their hand on your head, that one got my attention.
You had to change your trousers.
I cussed like a sailor. Actually, I think I may have taught him some new words.
I think so. I laughed until I thought I was going to pee my pants.
There is a video of it on my Facebook page. Rick tagged me in it just the other day, so the video is up there, but please be minded if you do go listen to it. It is adult-oriented.
Sounds fun.
It was.
I was pissed that they caught it on tape. I'm like, really? All the times you guys got the camera rolling, this time you have it going. I hate y'all.
Yeah.
But I'd say that was my biggest one. Like I said, and the shadow figure I thought I saw, I still know what I saw, but I still keep trying to say that. Was it me projecting what I wanted to experience? I wanted so badly at that time because we've only been doing this for maybe a year. And
I disagree with that because I don't think that you really want. I mean, you chased it through the building.
Well, I thought somebody was in the building. And it made me mad that somebody because nobody was supposed to be there. I was in a building completely alone. Nobody was supposed to be in that building, and I thought somebody actually had gotten past me or somehow gotten into the building. And I was mad. I was going to make him leave. No, I wasn't. Nope.
You went into full. You went into full. I'm gonna find this person. I did this the other day. I had a spirit come to my home, and my dog went crazy. And I grabbed the frying pan, thinking somebody had entered my house. So I'm searching my house with my frying pan, ready to beat whoever it was that had entered my house, and realised it was not physical; it was spiritual. And then felt a bit of a fool standing there with my frying pan. Do you know what I mean? Going, right, okay, I've got to work on a different level here now.
Well, it's nice to know that you know how to use a frying pan at least one way.
Ooh.
I don't know. Nice. I don't know what you meant by that.
That she doesn't know how to cook with it.
That's true. I don't know how to cook with a frying pan. That's true.
I'm keeping out of it.
I burn everything. I'm not a cook. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, dear.
I'm more Gordon Ramsay without the cooking skills. All I'm saying.
Okay. She had already explained it to me once before, so that's why I took that shot. I was like, I don't cook. I'm like, well, at least you know how to use a frying pan for home defense.
Yeah, exactly. We have 1 minute left of the show. So thank you so much for this pop-up show. I do love a pop-up show, a late-night pop-up show. If I can't go out investigating, a pop-up show is the next best thing. Thank you so much for joining me tonight in the studio. Thank you, Jay, considering I dragged you in at the last minute.
No problem. Thank you for having me. Interested to join us for a little while. Paul, it was great talking with you again.
Yeah, and you. Yeah.
Well, we keep trying to get the Thursday show on Paramania with Paul, but he keeps going to the cinema. How rude is all I'm going to say.
It's 4DX. It's awesome.
It was 4DX. We'll give you a little bit of leeway on that one.
I'm going to start going with Paul, and you can do the show with Teresa.
I am back tomorrow with you guys for the Spirit Dimension show. I have the beautiful Nixie Vale with me. She is the Rainbow Witch. So I'll be talking to her tomorrow. What have you got coming up this week, guys? Paul, what have you got coming up?
Tomorrow, I'm going to a medium night.
Ooh, are you now?
Yeah, I am. I'm going to a medium night, and then, I don't know, possibly the cinema again.
Tuesday.
I like how he says that. I got to go to an extra large night. I can't do a medium.
Yeah. We don't do mediums here.
Yeah, there's no mediums in this household. We're extra large.
Tuesday, we are talking about EMFs, aren't we?
We are, and we're joined by Kaz Rooney, and who else are we going to be joined by, Kerry?
Carl Hutchinson.
Oh, Carl. Okay, he's decided to come and join us.
That's right. And we're going to try and break it down so you guys start to learn a little bit more about what exactly an EMF is. And Jay and Teresa, what have you got coming up this week?
Monday night, we're supposed to be speaking with Wrestling with Ghost. It's the four horsemen of the paranormal that used to be, actually, they are professional wrestlers, and they're also paranormal investigators. And they filmed a series. They already got 1 year episode season in, and they're going to be on here talking about it. And Thursday night,
Fantastic.
what are we supposed to be talking about, Kerry? Thursday night, you and I. Are we going to just have a sound-off show again like we did this week? Because it went quite well.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. And I really do want Teresa to join us again. And Paul, are you going to be around Thursday night at midnight
I don't
UK
know.
time?
It depends maybe if I'm not at the cinema.
Well, I think you must have outdone the cinema by now. Come on.
No, I've got tickets so that I can go and see it any time I want. So
I'm going with Paul.
I might just go every night because it is awesome.
Wow.
I might just go with Paul. I don't have to wear heels, do I?
No, you don't. No.
Okay, as long as I have to wear heels, I'll be okay.
It's not that sort of cinema. You're fine.
I'm going to nag him a little bit, Joe. Don't worry. I will nag him mercilessly until he decides to join us on our Thursday Paramania show. That is midnight UK time, but 7 p.m. Eastern time. Am I right there?
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Have a great week, guys. I will be back with you tomorrow, but we are shows every night of the week, as you know. And, of course, you can catch up with any of our past shows as they are all now podcasts. So we shall bid you a fair night at 2 in the morning in the UK. Good night, guys. Say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Can I go to bed now?
You can go to bed now. Good night, guys.
See, it's just
Thank
3
you for
minutes past
listening.
9 p.m.
Don't forget
here.
to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.